Hey guys, Jay Harris here. Want to make a quick video showing you guys how to fade. So I start off by shampooing the hair twice. I'm using Charcoal Mint Shampoo by S-Curl, which detoxifies and cleanses. And I also use their conditioner to put moisture back in the hair. My client wanted to cut his hair all the way down and do a ball fade, so that's what we're going to do. I'm using my Andis Super ZR with a 1.5 blade just to take his hair down and lay a foundation for myself. Here I'm adding moisture back into the hair with S-Curl Instant Moisturizer and Holding Spray, brushing his hair down with the blow dryer on to lay it down. Starting with my Andis Cordless Master all the way closed, I'm creating my first line of demarcation. This particular master is not zero gapped, so once I put this first line in, I'm going to go behind it with the Andis Cordless T-Outliner. When using the trimmer, you want to be sure that you use a C-stroke flick out motion. That way you don't create another hard line, which will ultimately be harder to get out. So the next thing I'm going to do with my master, I'm going to open it to the third notch and create the second line. Well, here my master is all the way open, just knocking down the bulk around the edge. Using the master all the way closed, I'm just using the C-stroke motion to get out the first line. I started doing something else because I forgot I was recording, but I jumped back in. Now my master's all the way open, and I'm also using my comb at a 45-degree angle. As you can see, I'm lifting the hair that I want to cut off to create a nice fade. So you'll see me go back and forth between using the clipper all the way open, using the first 3 teeth as a point cutting method, and also using the comb. When the master is all the way open, it's almost like using a 1 guard, and me using the comb as a guideline is almost like a 1.5. This has always been a faster technique for me. Instead of using guards, creating different levels, and trying to blend out each line, that technique always seemed extra long to me. As you learn this technique, you'll see that it gets easier over time, and you'll kind of be able to eyeball and blend out certain areas to make sure that you have a perfect blend. Using the corner of my master helps me to target dark spots or places where I feel like need to be blended out a little more. Remember, when creating a fade, you're creating organized chaos, so you'll be able to eyeball what it is that you need to blend out to make sure that your fade is flawless. I did speed this part up a little more for the sake of time, but I did use the same exact technique as I did on the other side. That way I can have a matching blend. Typically I would fade all the way around, but for the sake of the video, I did one side at a time. What I've also realized by using this technique, I cut down the base time for my fades. Sometimes I can fade in as little as 10 minutes. Alright, so now my master is all the way open, and what I'm doing is I'm just going over his hairline, fading it down, that way it's not sticking up, and that when I create his shape up, it'll last a little longer. Alright, so I'm using my Slimline Pro to create the shape up. This is one of the first lines that I'm going to do. His hairline is a little tricky because it dips down in the front, so I had to go over it a few times just to make sure it's straight and that it's even. Now here I'm adding a little bit of color enhancements to give him a natural look, but it's also going to give a sharper edge to his haircut. Alright, so the final shape up with my T outliner. What I did after the color enhancements, I added some hair fibers. That way it doesn't look too shiny and that it looks very natural. I always go over the hairline a second time to make sure that it's super sharp, make sure I didn't miss any hairs laying over or anything like that. So now I'm using my Slimline Pro to clean up his facial hairs. Just make sure he looks well groomed, and also getting the hair that he has on his cheeks. This Slimline Pro is zero gapped, but it's not zero gap to the point where it's pinching or biting or will cause marks on the client. Using my Kenny Duncan razor handle with a Vincent blade, I'm going to clean up his hairline. I'm also using my fingers to stretch his skin, that way I do not cut him, and I also have him bite down when razoring his mustache, that way I don't nick him. Now we're almost done, but I'm going to use the outliner to go over his hair. That way there's no loose ends, no stragglies. This definitely finishes the cut, gives it a clean look. I also come behind it with my shears. That way I make sure I didn't miss any. This is the Profoil Plus shaver, using it to clean his face up. That way he doesn't have any stubble and his face is clean and smooth. And just like that, you're all finished.